just what drives me in my life. Um, Let me get it. So here's about the love and feeling that we were talking about. And I noticed that some people feel like, wow, I need a reset. And I think that was 40%. So here's what I'd like you to do. In the chat over there, I'd like you to describe a time when you noticed you were the happiest, playing well, and loving the game. Just take a second and put over there. I'm going to go over here and see what y'all say.
I don't know where the chat is.
Okay, good question. Just go down there, either on your computer, use your mouse, and the icons will come up. Or if you're on a phone, just tap your phone and it'll say chat. So have you ever done this before?
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's no problem.
Okay, I got you now. I
Oh,
got it.
perfect. Okay, so Jennifer says when the other players are relaxed and easygoing and everyone just wants to have fun. Yeah, I like it. So anybody else want to put in there, about the loving feeling? Because the truth of it is, when we say that we've lost some of that, which 40% of you said, then where does that go? Why does that happen? And one person says, when I was noticing all the tips our coach had been sharing with our group. Okay, good. Thank you, Karen. Anybody else? I'm going to go back. I have to go off chat and I'll just keep going. But that loving feeling, is really something. But if you want more fun and you want more joy, here's my best tip for you. The secret to the mental game isn't complicated. I think we try to complicate it, but it's easier than it is complex. Oh yeah, some other correct play. Everybody's coming in with those comments. Keep it up. So you all should be able to see the comments that everybody's having. But when we look at it, here's what I want you to know. The biggest tip I could tell you is that if you want to improve your mental game, embrace the art of noticing. Because noticing is actually what we call mindfulness. It's not mindlessness, it's mindfulness, the art of noticing. So think about the next time you go to the court. If you notice, like I've been noticing at the Civic Center, Liz will tell you this, I'm noticing the palm trees in the mountains. And I notice these things in between points. And I notice my partner. And I notice what a good shot they're doing. And I notice, and I notice, and I notice some more. When I go over to my water bottle, I notice the details of my water bottle. So what this does is this keeps me in my body. And that's one of the key things we can do for our mental game. But let's look at how to grow the 3 core mental muscles to thrive in challenging times on and off the court. And, a little bit of my background, to go back just a little bit, is that I coached women's basketball at the University of Kentucky and loved it, loved it. And then I, coached Olympians and coached people in the NBA and the ABL, WNBA and the ABL. The ABL was before the WNBA. And then I had the opportunity to become a coach with positive intelligence. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this changes everything because I could never data dump my head into other people. And what I realized was what was the missing component was something that helped us do mental reps every day. Because, we do physical reps. We go to the court and we drill, and then we work to drill correctly. And then we go and we implement in our rec games. And then we look really, really bad because we have to look bad in order to learn. But there was nothing on the mental side that could help me daily do something in the mental gym. And that's what the program I do allows us to do. Because I'm going to be honest with you, the research shows that if we read books, we can read them till the cows come home. But our learning is only about 10% retained when we just read a book. So it's not like we can read a book about pickleball. I mean, if I said, hey, are you playing any pickleball? And you go, oh my goodness, I've read every book that there's out there on the planet on pickleball. And now I'm reading one about the mental game. Oh, that's great. But do you play pickleball? No, but I'm going to read one more book on the mental game and then I'm going to start playing. Well, you would think, oh my gosh, you got to start playing sometime. That's step one. So this is why I think the daily mental fitness is so important. So let's look at how to grow these three core mental ones and the impact. So first of all, a definition of mental fitness, okay? That's your capacity to respond to life's challenges with positive rather than a negative mindset. And again, I say this mindset is something that you want to take a look at and start thinking in terms of a mind shift. But what does this impact? It impacts our peak performance. We're talking about pickleball, but let's face it, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you get triggered on the pickleball court, probably that same thing triggers you off the court. So if we're looking at the impact, we're looking at peak performance, and we're looking at peace of mind and wellness, and we're looking at healthy relationships. All of these are extremely important. So I want to share a little bit about the research foundation for positive intelligence. It was absolutely a breakthrough because we've got the various things here that impact all of it: performance of science, neuroscience, cognitive behavioral psychology. They went back and they looked at everything that might impact, how we perform. And what they came up with was in positive intelligence. So the research includes the results from hundreds of CEOs and their executive teams. Shirzad Shamane, who put this together, he was the CEO of the largest coaching federation in the world, and he left that to do this. So he works with all types of people. Stanford students were part of the research, and world-class athletes. And so 500,000 participants from 50 countries have done this. And what they've done is they summarized it in a book called Positive Intelligence, which has been translated into 20 languages. But here's what really happened. And this is the power of factor analysis. And this is what they applied. What that does, it discovers the root cause and it results in radical simplification. That's what positive intelligence offers: radical simplification. If you take, for an example, just all the root of thousands of colors, there's only three basic colors. It's hard to believe, but they're red, blue, and green. I mean, think about all the pictures you see painted. Maybe you're an artist yourself, but everything that's done comes from red, blue, and green. So that's the root of all paintings, of all colors. And so that root analysis is very important. And so there's only three core muscles that they discovered are at the root of mental fitness. Well, that's the good news. Only three muscles. One is a saboteur interceptor. Okay. Now, what does that mean? That means that I learn to identify my saboteurs, and you all have the opportunity to do an assessment and do a discovery session with me going over those results with you. But that's when you have a saboteur that tries to derail you in your life. And the main saboteur is a judge. So put in the chat box if you have ever judged yourself, others, or circumstances. Let's see what you say there. Anybody got? Trying to look over here. Okay. I believe so all the time. Anyway, I think it's probably a well-known fact that sometimes we judge ourselves, and lots of times we judge ourselves the worst. I say to people, if somebody else talked to you the way you talk to yourself, you probably wouldn't have them as a friend. Is that true? And ladies, sometimes we're the worst about ourselves. So the first one is intercepting that saboteur. When you don't know something, you can't change anything. But if I know, oh my gosh, that's my saboteur, then I have the chance to move that into a sage response. And the sage in positive intelligence, there's 5 of them through this factor analysis that was identified. One is the empathize. Another one is explore. Another one is innovate. A fourth one is navigate. And so when we do this, we are able to move in the moment from saboteur to sage. I think that's really exciting to know, wow, if we identify it, then we can change it. And then the last thing here is the self-command muscle. So the self-command muscle is what we use to change from saboteur to sage. But just like anything else, unless we practice something, unless we build a muscle, I mean, I don't know how many of you all just think about going to the gym and create muscle mass improvement. Has anybody done that? I mean, if you have, please let me know. I want to do what you're doing. But we know that unless we, we can't just look at the gym. We have to go in the gym, and then we have to do the work in the gym. So when we improve our mental self-command muscle, we're able to intercept our saboteurs quicker, move into sage mode, and that's what the self-command mode is all about. So when you look at the saboteur interceptor, this is the one, again, that there's 11 different ones. If you've already taken your assessment, you know what I'm talking about. One lady wrote back to me today and she was like, oh no, this is bad or something. Here's what I want you to know. This is the exciting part. Your saboteur is nothing more than your strength that has run amok. It's like it's gone crazy. It's overused and it's abusing. So don't think that your saboteur is some horrible thing. If you're a hyperachiever, that's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing if it runs your whole life. If you're a stickler, if it runs your whole life, then that's not going to work for you. So saboteur interceptor is just recognizing that the saboteur has become overused or abused. And so we got to dial it back so it's its strength. So that's when we move into sage and self-command. So the question becomes, are negative emotions good for you? I don't know. Let's take a look at it. Is pain good for you? Well, let's take a look at that. How long do you think you would leave your hand on the hot stove? Now put in the chat box over there, how long do you think you would leave your hand on a hot stove? I'm thinking you're going to remove it pretty quickly. 2 seconds. All right, 1 second. Anybody else? 5 seconds. Oh, Jenny, you might have a bad burn on yours.
0.5 seconds.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so think about this. Is pain good for you? It shows her hubby's. Yeah, Barb had to get in here with her hub's account. That's okay. Nanosecond. Okay. But think about this. How many times have you left your mental mind on the hot stove for hours, for days, maybe a month even? And it just drives you crazy. So start thinking about that mental part as a hot stove. And the minute you recognize, oh my gosh, I'm on the mental hot stove, I need to remove that, then you can recognize that is a saboteur and you can move into your sage response, which is really exciting for people. So let's look more at these negative emotions. It's only helpful for 1 second as an alert signal. So negative emotions aren't totally bad. I mean, if we were getting ready to cross the street and somebody honked their horn, I mean, we would jump all of a sudden, but thank goodness. And I'll tell you again, thank you, Barb Taylor, for texting me today. She says, your link doesn't work. I was like, oh my goodness, I better go check that. And there was one little part of it that was missing. Now, if Barb Taylor had not texted me kindness, I had to ask her because it didn't identify her. I said, who do I thank? She said, Barb Taylor. I said, okay, Barb, so I'm thanking you. And what this reminds me of is, we don't do anything on our own. When I hear people say, oh, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, I go, well, I think you forgot that somebody made your boots and somebody made your straps. If Barb Taylor had not took the time to text me today and let me know that there was a broken link, I would have been wondering where everybody was. So thank you again. So again, the negative emotions, though, only helpful for 1 second as an alert signal for your mental. And how many times do we stay on a point that was played 3 games ago and we're still analyzing that? That is not going to be helpful to us. That's all we want to look at. We don't want to judge it. We don't want to call it bad. I call it using discernment. Blameless discernment. Okay. I want you to think of those 2 words, blameless discernment. When you look at something, try to look at it in such a way that you don't judge it good or bad, because everything's neutral until you give it a label. There is, in essence, no good or bad. It's only when you start calling it that. So with blameless discernment, just take something that happens in your life tomorrow and look at it and try to look at it in a different way. So staying in your negative emotion, it just keeps you from seeing clearly and responding with empathy, curiosity, creativity, or laser focused action. And that's what we do when we move into sage. I mean, if I look at explore, if I something's not going right, if I got really curious like a cultural anthropologist, I would really learn something. Or if I went back to a time when I was a kid and I was going along the beach, tell me if you remember something like this. Or in the woods and you go around and you see a rock or a shell, and you're just like so excited and you're turning it over. You're not judging it. You're just there appreciating it, being in the joy of seeing this rock or this shell. So the quicker we can get out of negative emotions on the pickleball court, the better. So in this sage mode again, if we look at sage, it lives in the region of the brain that is associated with positive emotions. Now, let me tell you where that is. That's the prefrontal cortex. The saboteurs actually live in the back, in the limbic brain, okay? But when we can bring it to our prefrontal cortex, that's where it happens in a positive manner. And when Shirzad did MRIs with 1,000 people after they completed an 8-week course in positive intelligence, they found that this prefrontal cortex was all lit up and that the neural pathways that had been created in just 8 weeks had multiplied. And the limbic part back here with the saboteurs had decreased. I mean, that's huge. So I think a lot of times in the past, people thought stuff like this was just, woo-woo, let's face it. But this is actually science-based. Positive intelligence is science-based. So when we look at this, the sage, we're in peace and calm. When I asked that question about, was your inner peace, messed up? And 40% said, oh, I need a reset. So this is about trying to really connect with that peace and calm. And I'm going to tell you something that you can do tomorrow when you go to the court. If you take nothing else away from tonight, mark this down, keep it in your memory bank. And that is when you get to the court, just look for 3 new things. 3 new things. Because what that does, that engages you in mindfulness, which is noticing. And when you see, look at your partner and look at 3 new things about your partner. Because what this is going to do, it's going to take away the certainty you have about anybody you meet. And it's going to replace it with uncertainty. And guess what happens with uncertainty? Well, then all of a sudden you learn something new. So this is why it's so important to go to the court every day and just be in a mode of noticing things. Notice the ball. Notice anything that you can connect with on the court. I promise you, it'll create an inner peace that you just will be shocked about. But the sage helps you have clear-headed focus and creativity. That'll help shots for sure. Helps you see the big picture. That's a good thing. Because in pickleball, people are always talking about, I want to keep my eyes on the ball, eyes on the ball. And you know what? The truth is you can't really watch the ball all the way into your paddle and move as quick as pickleball is now. Think about that for a second. So you kind of have to use the peripheral vision and move your paddle to hit. Because when you get too into the paddle, then you actually miss what's going on and your ability to see. So try that out as well. Yeah, let me see if somebody's coming in. Okay, I'm going to admit them. So all of this is operating from the sage perspective. So we covered saboteur and we've gone into sage and what that means. So the sage perspective is every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift and opportunity. Now, notice the 2 key words here, can be. It doesn't mean that every situation or outcome has to be turned into a gift or opportunity. But here's what I want to talk to you about. The interesting thing about that is which perspective is true. Okay? Saboteur, this is bad. Sage, this is gift. But the answer is whatever you believe becomes true. If you truly believe that this circumstance, this situation, this person is bad, then that's what will show up for you. If you believe it's a gift, that can also show up for you. So as you're looking at this, and we go into the self-command, but let me say one more thing about the gift and the opportunity. Sometimes we can't find the gift and the opportunity in that specific moment because horrific things happen in life. But what we can do is we can accept, okay? Accept is conscious. It's proactive. It's not being mad, angry, resentful. Accept says, I accept this situation as it is, and there may be the opportunity for me to convert that into a gift and opportunity in the future, which is what we hope to do. So when it says every situation and circumstance can be, it doesn't say it must be. So the part that you want to really get here is that I can accept it. I'm actively choosing to accept it, putting it to the side, knowing that I am going to look to convert that to a gift and opportunity in the future. Now, how do you do that in this self-command? Well, I'm going to take you right now through a little exercise. What we call it in the mental gym is 10-second PQ reps. You know, like you do a physical rep in the gym, this is a mental PQ rep. PQ stands for positive intelligent quotient reps. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just shut your eyes right now, okay? If everybody will just shut your eyes. And I'm going to do this for maybe a minute or two. So what I want you to do is if there's just thoughts coming into your head, I want you just to gently let those thoughts go as if they're flowing down a river until you see them go around the bend, you see them no further. And then I want you to breathe deeply through your nose, more deeply than your normal breath. Breathe deeply through your nose several times. And I want you to pay attention to the temperature of the air as you breathe through your nose and either breathe out through your nose or out through your mouth. Now I want you to return to your normal breathing. But I want you to notice the flare of your nostrils. And now I want you to take your index finger of one hand and place it against your thumb. And then I want you to do the same thing on the other hand, taking your index finger and place it against your thumb. And then I want you just to rub your fingers back and forth and see if you can notice and pay attention to the ridges in your fingertips. And just keep rubbing those for a few minutes. And now I want you to take the fingertips of one hand and place against the fingertips of the other hand and rub up and down to your palm. As you rub those hands up and down, I want you to notice any change in texture of your hand, any change in temperature. And now I want you to squeeze the muscles in your neck and back and chest and stomach and arms and in your hands and just really tense all those muscles up for a couple of seconds here, as hard as you can. And then release that and feel the relaxation. And then I want you to tense up all of the muscles in your buttocks and your legs and your calves and your feet and your toes and just hold that tension for a moment. And release. And now I want you to breathe in through your nose and notice the rise of your stomach and your chest. Okay, now I want you just to open your eyes. Now, let me ask you over in the chat box, how do you feel? Can you tell me? Okay, calm. Barb Taylor says calm. Anybody else? What do you feel? Happy, refreshed, relaxed. So, what I want to say about that is I do this multiple times a day. I do it after I play a point and I'm going to the next point. I do my fingers like this. And if I have a partner and we both know that, we look at each other and we do like that. And you know what happens? The people on the other side are going, what are they doing? So we get their attention. They're looking at us rather than what they're supposed to be doing. But what that does is that puts me back in my body and it takes me out of my autopilot mind. And that's what helps on the court. Like right after an unforced error, I got to tell you, in the game the other day, the last game of the day at Civic Center, my partner and I, Lene, we were down 0-7. And to be quite honest, it was due mostly to my unforced errors. But I just, kept doing this. We came back and won that game 11-9. And Sally was going, how did you come back and win that game? And I said, I was just noticing. And here's what I noticed. I noticed that my unforced errors were not helping my partnership, but I didn't judge myself. I just noticed. And that's very different than judging. So these are ways of getting to that prefrontal cortex and staying out of the limbic part, which is our judge, our saboteur that says, I'm so awful. They're never going to want to play with me again. I'm a bad player. We're not bad because we lose, and we're not good because we win. That's really misguided. So here's the exciting part of this is the simplicity of the PQ operating system. If you're feeling negative emotions, stop. And you stop when you're able to identify the saboteurs. Stop immediately. Take your hand off the hot stove of the mental mind because you're in saboteur mode. And when you're in saboteur mode, that is like the fight or flight response. Everybody know what that is? That's when your heart rate goes up. It beats over 100 beats a minute. Your vision, you can't hear as well. You can't see as well. If you don't believe me, think about the last time you had an argument with your partner. Everybody going, you said, you don't even know what you said because you're in the fight or flight mode. You're in saboteur mode. So you have to learn to intercept that saboteur mode, whether you're in life or you're on the court. It happens the same way. So you do PQ reps to quiet the saboteurs and activate the sage. This is how simple it is. So to assume the sage perspective that every problem can be converted into a gift and opportunity, again, it doesn't mean it should be. Sometimes we actively choose accept, but we don't avoid or go into resignation because that is not proactive acceptance. We can later choose again to convert to the gift and the opportunity. And we generate the gift by using the sage powers like empathy, the curiosity, creativity, and calm, clear-headed action. So here's the question. Is it really possible to just shift from saboteur to sage response, even in tough challenges? Yes. The answer is absolutely yes. And that's the exciting part. But the speed and the depth of the shift depends on the mental strength that you have for your self-command muscle. Like you could go into the physical gym and say, I'm going to bench 200 pounds. But that's not realistic if you've not been building up your muscles. So how can you expect to change from saboteur to sage if you've not built up those muscles? So there's a process in the exciting part. But lasting change requires mental muscle, 80%. It's not insight. I'm sure everybody's gone to conferences and things. Even this webinar, you might get some great insights, but this webinar will not build your mental muscle. I can tell you that right now. I'm always going to tell you the truth. Okay. So it can give you insight. And with insight, it's like having insight about a saboteur. If I recognize my saboteur, I can work to move to sage. But if I haven't built up the self-command muscle to the extent that I can do it quick and faster and in many circumstances as possible, then I can be at a disadvantage. So success requires intense initial practice, 15 minutes a day for 6 to 8 weeks. That's what I take people through. And so the mental fitness program, just to kind of give you an idea of what it is, and then I'm going to open it up for questions to see what you glean from what I'm saying and what questions you have. It's an hour video a week. And so what happens is it actually drops on your phone. So I don't know if you can see my phone, but I have my app on my phone. I've been doing this every day for 2 years. I found it remarkable. I've been certified as a coach in so many different programs, and there's nothing that matches this. I can tell you that, because it creates the daily fitness routine that I need in my head, just like I do in the gym. But what happens is, starting on a Friday, then a video drop happens. It's chunked down in 5 to 10 minute parts. You have the weekend, and then after that, we have an app that guides you through daily practice. There's a daily focus. So like mine today was daily focus. Oh, how great is this? Accept or convert. Okay. And so my recharge for the day was accept as an active choice. I did that one. And then my one that came in at 4 o'clock was convert starts as accept for now. So I looked at things that I wanted to just accept for now and convert later. So it takes you through this. There's an interactive PQ gym. That means a mental gym. So when I wake up each morning, I do my daily focus, and then I do 12 minutes in my mental gym. It has daily progress tracking, has weekly online coaching sessions that I would be doing. And it has a PDF or audio of his Positive Intelligence book. So all of that comes with it. But what makes us different? Well, we focus on habit formation. Let me give you an example. People used to think that 28 days was a time for change to happen. That's why you saw some, if people went into treatment for everything, they would do 28 days. But what they found is 28 days was never enough to create a new habit. So they did some research, and this is amazing, but all the people had to do was eat an apple a day. And it took 67 and a half days for them to form that new habit of eating an apple. So it does take time, and it does take consistency, but it is worth it. You are worth it, is what I would say. And I can tell you this, if you drill on the court and you don't drill your mind off the court, you're not going to get to where you want to go as quickly. That's just the fact of it. So what makes us different too is we treat the root cause, not the symptoms. So back to the factor analysis, we're looking at what is beneath the saboteurs, and the strengths are what's beneath the saboteurs. But we have to, I have this saying, I say, get your butterflies in formation. We got to get those back in formation so they're working for us and not against us. Develop all 3 core muscles. That's what we're working on in the mental way. One operating system, many applications, a platform for ongoing growth. And it's research based, measurable results. It's science. This isn't just woo-woo, dream it up, think it'll work. It's based in science. So the question becomes, how can you join the fun? I'm just going to lay it right out to you. Package 1 is the program only. You can get this with Positive Intelligence with no coaching from me. And the cost of that is $995. So if I've never had anybody do that, but if they didn't want any coaching, then they would just get the $995. They would have access to the apps, the videos, the daily focus. They would have absolutely access to all of that. But how can you really ignite your mental game? Well, here's the package that I am offering to anybody here. And that is PQ program with my coaching. And that is group coaching for 8 weeks, maximum size of 8. The regular cost is $29.95. $9.95 of that is the program. The rest of it is for my coaching for 8 weeks. But For you, I'm willing to do this for 1995 because honestly, I'm looking for a group of pickleball women. I've got all kinds of people who have gone through this. I've had groups, I've had individuals, and you actually have access in the information I'm sending you through the emails when you signed up for that, where you can go and you can read, everything about what people think about going through this with me. And Jennifer's here; she can tell you in a minute too. So that's basically what you're looking at in order to do this. Now, I'm going to stop the screen share here. And I'm just going to ask if anybody open it up for questions. I'll be glad to answer anything. And I've tried to give you a fairly quick overview because I want to honor that I said it would, be somewhere around an hour. So I need to share the information with you and then open it up for questions. So anybody who wants to ask a question, just say it now.
Mhm.
You can also, if you want to go to the chat, if you don't want to open yours up, you can do something like that. And I will say this too. If you, I'm going to put my phone number in there too. Oops. Because if you want to ask any questions offline, there's my phone number. And feel free to text me, call me, whatever, and ask whatever questions you want. Sometimes people don't want to ask in front of a group. I understand that. That's okay. I'm going to put this back on gallery view.
Dotti, I don't have a question, but I'm
Oh,
happy
yeah.
to say a little. So,
Okay.
I did the program, the 8-week program with the coaching last summer, and I highly recommend it. I don't know if anyone in the group here is like me, but I had before pickleball, I'd never played a sport in my life outside of gym class. So, I definitely didn't bring an athlete's mindset to the game. And so I had been playing probably 2.5 years when we were working together, maybe just over two, I can't remember. Anyway, but I was floundering largely in my mental game, and it was, of course, affecting my physical, the shots and the confidence and all of that. So it was really kind of the reset I needed, and the mind shift, to use your word, Dottie, from to thinking of myself really as an athlete, which was huge, as you'll recall, a huge shift for me. And it took all of the 8 weeks and then some for sure. So, but I was able to do it, and the program was extremely helpful in that regard.
Yeah, I'll say Jennifer was amazing. She came and she was open and she was vulnerable with what she shared. And she was wanting so hard to play at that 4.0 level. She had the skills. And so, crazy as it sounds, I would say to her, I would say, okay, you have to go to 5 people you trust this week. And you have to say, I am an athlete. Can I share with you that I am an athlete? Because she had to become comfortable in her own skin with believing this. Can you imagine trying to move up when you really don't believe you're an athlete? I would say, how often do you play? And she was telling me, I was going, oh my God, if you're playing that much, you are an athlete. Don't ever doubt that. But because she had never played sports, and this is what really drew me to this work, because I think so many women are in that boat. I'm going to be 72 in September. I was fortunate. I grew up playing my basketball, but not other sports. But a lot of women just didn't have an opportunity. So they assumed they weren't good at sports. And now here comes pickleball. And oh my gosh, they're becoming so empowered. It's amazing. Yeah. So Jennifer really did come forward, and she is an athlete. And I can't wait to see this athlete play
Just so
on
you know,
Tuesday.
of my 5 people, I counted my dog as one of them to start. That was my starting point, telling my dog.
That's okay.
It
You
was
know,
hard. It was really hard. Yeah.
The hardest part sometimes is just getting those words out of our mouth
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
saying it, because we really have to visualize who we want to become and how do we want to play before we get there. And in fact, when I just came back from coaching in South Africa and Ghana for about a total of 4 weeks, and I have an easy button. And every time we did an activity, I would have everybody come over and smack the easy button. Well, first of all, they all loved it. They would die laughing. I mean, we would do something they thought was so challenging. I said, oh, come on, snap that easy button. Let's think about it. Here's the point. When you hit that easy button saying that was easy, you might not hit that shot every time, but do you think you have a better chance of making the shot if you say that was easy or this is hard as hell? I mean, come on. If you're approaching everything like I'm not good, I'm not an athlete, I'm not whatever, that is going to impact how your body responds. And if you really believe, wow, that was easy, think I'll do it again, then you have a better chance of moving more quickly into a shot that you can create over and over again, because it's like giving your body permission. You give your body permission to do well. So I love that Jennifer did that. And I'm looking forward to meeting you, you beast of an athlete. And so is Liz. She's all built up about it now. Anyway, anybody have any questions? I do want to respect your time, but I'm glad to answer anything that you have. And, if you think you're one of the people that might want to be in the group. Now, Jennifer did one-on-one. And if you're interested in one-on-one, some people are, but it's, it costs more. And so, just know that. But if you text me and you say, I'm interested in one-on-one, you can let me know. Karen, I think Karen had a question or a comment in the chat. Let me just see here. Mine's not one. Oh, here we go. Let me get over to chat. Okay. Karen says, I'm not familiar with PQ. I've been working with internal family systems, which has a similar vocabulary. Okay. With getting to know my saboteurs. My rationalizer is a big one. Oh, yeah. I'm learning I'm an athlete, always athletic my whole life. I'm not sure where I want to go in pickleball, but I know I love the game. Yeah, looking forward to the retreat. Absolutely. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I'm doing pickleball escapades is what I started to have a different kind of retreat. There's a lot of clinics and retreats out there, and I think they're great. And I will say that most of them kind of take the same approach. I like to think that I look at things a little bit differently. So our retreat is going to incorporate the mental with the physical skills. We'll be doing stuff like this on the court. And yeah, thank you, Karen, about that. I think what I have found different, a lot of ones look at saboteurs and stuff out there, but personally, I'm not seeing any program that has this on the app that puts me in the mental gym every day, those reps that I'm looking for. Again, it's made the biggest difference. My coaching, look, my tagline is born to coach. I started coaching when I was 15 years old with a little 10 and under basketball team. And so that's just, I think that's my calling. But what I didn't have was this way of helping people go to that daily, consistent mental fitness practice. It would be like me saying, go to the physical gym, and you saying, oh, I don't have a gym. I don't have anything. I don't, if you don't have something, you can't really do the daily stuff. But if you have something, then you create this daily habit that gets really exciting. But anyway, well, listen, if nobody has any questions, I'm going to just.
Dotti?
Yes.
Yes. How
yes,
is your
Jenny.
program different from a daily structured meditation positive?
That's a great question. Here's the difference. Meditation is not mindfulness. Okay. When you meditate in order to post meditative state, be mindful. Okay. And mindfulness is created in little bitty chunks. Okay. It doesn't take big amounts of times. In fact, the really funny part is a lot of Shirzad's friends are people who go up on the mountain and meditate and do, I mean, like week-long meditation things. And they said, Shirzad, your program nailed it, because the problem I always had is when I came down off the mountain, I had to operate in the real life, off the mountain life. And stuff came up. And I really didn't know how to handle it, because you can't go, okay, could you hold on just a minute? I've got to go meditate for an hour before I say anything to you. That's not real life. Again, meditation's great, and you build on that to create mindfulness. But mindfulness is really the act of noticing. And that's what PQ is all about. It's constantly noticing. We do things when we get up in the morning. Something as simple as, okay, when I go to the bathroom, I notice the toilet paper in the morning. I feel what it feels like. I brush my teeth. I feel the toothpaste. I wash my hands. I feel the soap. That's different than mindlessly doing something. Because when we wake up, we often go into our autopilot mind, and then we're off to the races, and we don't even know what happened to the first couple of hours of our day.
So your program's more staying in the present, staying in the.
Yes, I would say, and again, it's about mindfulness and noticing. When we aren't noticing moment by moment, we're in mindlessness. And when we're in mindlessness, we miss whole chunks of our days and our life. And it's just really fun to be able to go about it in a mindful way. And mindfulness, if you did nothing but start noticing, you would be far ahead in the game of life. So if that's the one tip I could give you and you take away, I mean, I would love for you to come through and take a deeper dive. That's totally up to you. I feel like my gift is putting it out in the universe. If somebody grabs it, more power to them. And if it doesn't work for them to do that, that's okay too. I'm just excited about, getting a group of pickleball women together who are going to do a group of going through positive intelligence with my mental edge, the X factor. Yeah, that X factor. Okay. The X factor is the mind shifts that happen, that art of focusing. That's what I call the X factor. So anyway, any other questions or comments that somebody has? All right, then. I think I see Kit there. Kit's going to be at the retreat. Yeah, we got several people on that's going to be at the retreat. Anyway, thank you for being here. A couple of my clients like Jennifer were going to be on here, but one's at a yoga retreat in Costa Rica. And Kay said, oh, no, I'm right in the middle of one of our, sessions. And Katie McKee is another lady, great, great player. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but anyway, she was playing from 6 to 10 on her time in Central Time, so she couldn't be here either. But thanks, Jennifer, for coming on, and I'll look forward to seeing you Tuesday. All right, ladies.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for coming on. Chat with you later. Bye for now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dotti.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Most welcome.